Welcome to my channel. Try to hear the latest story.
The restaurant door closed behind him with a soft chime as Marcus checked his watch one last time. 7 minutes late. Not ideal for a first impression, but when your babysitter shows up late and your 6-year-old daughter refuses to let go of your leg, sometimes life happens. He straightened his only decent shirt, the one he'd ironed 3 times tonight, and scanned the dimly lit restaurant. That's when he saw her, alone at a corner table, shoulders shaking slightly, dabbing at her eyes with a napkin. His blind date was crying. What happened next would change both their lives forever, revealing wounds so deep and truths so powerful that neither could have imagined where this tearful first meeting would lead them. If you're touched by stories of unexpected connections and second chances, hit that like button now and subscribe to see more real-life stories that remind us how fate works in mysterious ways. Marcus stood frozen, debating whether to approach or quietly slip away. The woman, Elise according to the dating app, hadn't noticed him yet. She was dressed impeccably in what he guessed was a designer outfit that probably cost more than his monthly rent. Her dark hair was pulled back in a sleek bun, and despite the tears, there was something commanding about her presence. This was definitely not how blind dates were supposed to start. "Excuse me," he said, approaching cautiously. "Are you Elise?" She looked up, startled, quickly wiping away tears. "Oh. Yes, I'm Elise." She straightened her posture, attempting to regain composure. "And you must be Marcus. I'm so sorry about this. Please, sit down." Marcus slid into the chair across from her, setting down his worn leather wallet. "Are you okay? We can reschedule if this isn't a good time." "No, please stay," she said, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "It's just been a difficult day. Work stuff. I shouldn't have brought it to dinner." Marcus nodded, understanding all too well how work problems could follow you home. "I get it. No judgment here." The waiter approached with menus, and Marcus felt his stomach tighten as he scanned the prices. This place was way beyond his budget, a fact he'd missed when agreeing to meet here. He'd have to stick with water and the cheapest appetizer they offered. "So," Elise said, composing herself, "Jenna told me you work in construction?" "Maintenance, actually. I fix things at an apartment complex. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills. Most of them, anyway." He smiled, trying to make light of his situation. "What about you? What kind of work has you crying in restaurants on a Friday night?" Elise hesitated. "I'm in corporate management. Technology sector." Marcus noticed she was being vague but didn't press. "Sounds impressive. Stressful too, I'm guessing." "It can be," she admitted. "Today was particularly challenging. We had to let some people go." "That's rough," Marcus said sincerely. "Having to make those kinds of decisions." Something in his tone made Elise look at him more carefully. "You sound like you've been on the receiving end of that conversation." Marcus shrugged. "A few times. Most recently about 8 months ago when the construction company I worked for went under. That's how I ended up in maintenance." The waiter returned for their orders. Marcus asked for water and the least expensive pasta dish, while Elise ordered a glass of wine and a salad. "Just water?" she asked after the waiter left. "Please don't feel like you need to hold back." "I'm good with water," Marcus assured her, not wanting to admit he was counting every dollar until payday. Elise studied him for a moment. "Jenna mentioned you have a daughter?" Marcus's face immediately brightened. "Lily. She's 6 and absolutely the best thing in my life. Smart as a whip and twice as quick." He pulled out his phone to show a photo of a beaming little girl with curly hair and his same warm brown eyes. "She's beautiful," Elise said, her expression softening. "You must be very proud." "Every day," Marcus agreed. "Even the hard ones." Maybe especially those. And her mother? Elise asked carefully. Marcus's smile faded slightly. She left when Lily was 2. Decided family life wasn't for her after all. It's been just the 2 of us since then. I'm sorry, Elise said, genuine compassion in her voice. That must be incredibly difficult. We manage, Marcus said simply. What about you? Any kids? Elise shook her head. No. My career has always been my focus. I never seem to find the right time or the right person. Something vulnerable flickered across her face. Sometimes I wonder if I've made the right choices. Their food arrived, and Marcus noticed Elise had barely touched her wine. She seemed distracted, her earlier tears still close to the surface. You know, he said gently, whatever happened at work today, it's just one day. Tomorrow might be better. Elise looked at him with surprise. That's a surprisingly optimistic view from someone who's been laid off multiple times. Marcus twirled pasta around his fork. When you're raising a kid on your own, you learn to be resilient. Lily needs me to get up every morning no matter what happened the day before. That's admirable, Elise said quietly. I wish some of my executives understood that kind of responsibility. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Executives? Just how high up in management are you? Elise hesitated, then sighed. I'm the CEO. Marcus nearly choked on his water. The CEO? As in, the boss of everyone? Of Horizon Tech, yes, she admitted. I don't usually lead with that on dates. People tend to act differently when they know. I can imagine, Marcus said, suddenly feeling even more out of his depth. So those people you had to let go today. 17 employees, Elise said, her voice cracking slightly. Good people with families. The board insisted it was necessary for the quarterly numbers, but all I could think about was how many children would hear their parents come home with bad news tonight. Marcus was quiet for a moment. That's why you were crying. Elise nodded, looking embarrassed. Pathetic, right? I'm supposed to be this tough business leader making the hard calls, and here I am falling apart in public. I don't think it's pathetic at all, Marcus said. I think it means you're human. Those decisions should hurt. Their conversation flowed more easily after that, moving to lighter topics. Marcus told stories about Lily's adventures in kindergarten, and Elise shared anecdotes about her rise through the corporate world. Despite their vastly different lives, they found unexpected common ground in their values and sense of humor. When the check came, Marcus reached for it automatically, but Elise was quicker. Please, let me, she said. I chose this place without asking if it was convenient. Pride made Marcus want to refuse, but practicality won out. Thank you. Next time can be my treat, somewhere more in my budget range. Next time? Elise asked with a small smile. If you want there to be one, Marcus said, suddenly uncertain. I know I'm not exactly in your league. Leagues are for sports, not people, Elise interrupted. And yes, I'd like to see you again. They walked out together into the cool evening air. Marcus had taken the bus, planning to call a rideshare home, but Elise insisted on driving him. Her car was sleek and expensive, making Marcus acutely aware of the vast difference in their circumstances. As they pulled up to his modest apartment complex, the same one where he worked, he felt a moment of shame. This is me, he said, gesturing to the aging building. Not exactly a penthouse. It's a home, Elise said simply. That's what matters. Marcus hesitated before getting out. Can I ask you something? Why were you really crying tonight? I get feeling bad about layoffs, but it seemed more personal than that. Elisa's hands tightened on the steering wheel. My father was laid off when I was 12. He was a factory worker, and when the plant closed, he couldn't find another job. I watched him break a little more each day as rejection after rejection came in. Her voice grew quiet. he started drinking. Our family fell apart. And today, I became the person who might do that to someone else. The raw honesty of her answer caught Marcus off guard. That's why you were so upset. You weren't just thinking about the employees, you were thinking about their families. Yes, she whispered. And the worst part is, I'm not sure the layoffs were even necessary. The board is obsessed with short-term profits, but I think there were other options we didn't explore fully. Marcus was silent for a moment. You know, in maintenance, I've learned that sometimes fixing things means looking at the whole system, not just the broken part. Maybe your company needs that kind of thinking. Elise looked at him with new interest. That's, actually quite insightful. Just because I work with my hands doesn't mean I don't use my head, Marcus said with a smile. I never thought otherwise, Elise assured him. In fact, I think I could learn a lot from your perspective. They said goodnight with a promise to meet again soon. As Marcus watched her drive away, he wondered if anything could really come of this connection. Their worlds were so different, she ran a tech company while he fixed leaky faucets. And yet, there had been a moment of real understanding between them. Inside, his babysitter Jenny was dozing on the couch. After paying her and seeing her out, Marcus quietly opened Lily's bedroom door. His daughter was fast asleep, her stuffed elephant clutched tightly in her arms. Looking at her peaceful face, Marcus felt the familiar mix of love and worry that had been his constant companion since becoming a single parent. I met someone interesting tonight, Lilybug, he whispered. Not sure where it's going, but she made me think maybe good things can still happen to us. The next morning, Marcus was fixing a broken garbage disposal when his phone buzzed with a text from Elise. I can't stop thinking about what you said last night. Would you be free for coffee this afternoon? I could use some more of that whole system perspective. They met at a small cafe near his apartment complex. Elise looked different in casual clothes, more approachable but no less impressive. She had brought a laptop filled with spreadsheets and company data. I hope this isn't too presumptuous, she said, but I wanted to show you what we're dealing with. Sometimes a fresh pair of eyes sees things differently. Marcus was surprised but touched by her trust. I don't know much about corporate finance, but I'll try. For the next hour, Elise explained the company's situation. Marcus listened carefully, asking questions that at first seemed naive to Elise but gradually revealed insights she hadn't considered. So these departments don't talk to each other at all, he asked, pointing to two divisions with overlapping functions. Not really. They've always operated independently. That's like having two maintenance teams for one building, each with their own tools and schedules, never coordinating. It's wasteful. Elise stared at the screen, then at Marcus. You're right. We could consolidate these operations without losing a single job. How did my entire executive team miss this? Sometimes you're too close to see it clearly, Marcus suggested. In my job, tenants think their problems are unique, but I see patterns they don't because I see everyone's apartments. Their coffee date extended into dinner, with Elise calling her assistant to bring more files. By evening, they had outlined a restructuring plan that could potentially save most of the jobs that had been cut. This is remarkable, Elise said, looking at Marcus with new respect. You have a natural talent for problem solving. Marcus shrugged. When you're raising a kid on a tight budget, you get creative. Nothing goes to waste, and everything serves multiple purposes. I wish my board thought that way, Elise sighed. They're so focused on immediate returns that they miss the long-term value of our people. People aren't line items, Marcus agreed. They're investments. As they parted that evening, something had shifted between them. What had started as an unlikely blind date was evolving into a partnership of minds despite their different backgrounds. Over the next few weeks, they fell into a rhythm. Marcus would finish his maintenance shifts, pick up Lily from after-school care, and sometimes Elise would join them for dinner at their small apartment. She took to Lily immediately, bringing educational games and listening with genuine interest to the little girl's elaborate stories. "You're good with her," Marcus observed one evening as they washed dishes together while Lily drew pictures at the kitchen table. "She makes it easy," Elise said. "She's extraordinary, Marcus. You've done an amazing job raising her." "We've had our struggles," he admitted. "There are things I wish I could give her that are out of reach right now." Elise hesitated. "I hope this isn't overstepping, but I've been thinking about something. The maintenance supervisor position at my company's headquarters is opening up. The salary is nearly twice what you're making now, with benefits and regular hours." Marcus stopped washing the plate in his hands. "Are you offering me a job?" "I'm suggesting you apply," Elise clarified. "You're more than qualified, and it would be a step up professionally. The hiring manager makes the final decision, not me." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "I appreciate the thought, but I don't want charity, Elise. And I don't want to be the guy who sleeps his way into a job." "It's not charity," Elise said firmly. "And that's not what this is. I've seen how you work, how you think. My company would be lucky to have you. Just promise me you'll consider it." After Elise left that night, Marcus sat at his kitchen table, looking at the bills spread before him. The rent increase notice had come today, another $200 a month they couldn't afford. Lily needed new shoes, and the car was making a concerning noise. Pride was a luxury he might not be able to afford anymore. The next day, he submitted his application for the maintenance supervisor position. Meanwhile, Elise was fighting her own battle in the boardroom. Her restructuring proposal, heavily influenced by her conversations with Marcus, was meeting resistance from board members focused solely on stock prices. "These changes will take time to show results," one board member argued. "The market wants action now." "The market also wants sustainable growth," Elise countered. "Cutting our most experienced staff is short-sighted. This plan preserves our institutional knowledge while still reducing costs." The debate raged for hours, with Elise standing her ground more firmly than she ever had before. Something about Marcus's unwavering commitment to doing right by his daughter had strengthened her resolve to do right by her employees. In the end, the board approved her plan on a trial basis. The laid-off employees would be offered their jobs back under the new structure, with a 3-month evaluation period to prove the model worked. That evening, Elise called Marcus with the news. "We did it. The board approved the restructuring. 17 families will get good news tonight instead of wondering how to make ends meet." "That's incredible, Elise," Marcus said, genuine pride in his voice. "You fought for what was right." "I couldn't have done it without your insight," she admitted. "You helped me see solutions I was missing." There was a pause before Marcus spoke again. "I got called for an interview. For the maintenance supervisor position." "That's wonderful," Elise exclaimed. "When is it?" "Tomorrow morning. I had to call in a favor to get Jenny to take Lily to school." "You're going to be amazing," Elise assured him. "Just be yourself." The interview went better than Marcus had expected. His practical experience and problem-solving approach impressed the facilities director, who seemed particularly interested in Marcus's ideas for preventative maintenance schedules. 2 days later, Marcus received the job offer. The salary was even better than Elise had suggested, with a clear path for advancement. For the first time in years, he felt like he could breathe financially. That weekend, they celebrated with a picnic in the park. Lily ran around with other children while Marcus and Elise sat on a blanket, watching her play. "I can't believe how much has changed in just a month," Marcus said. "From barely making rent to having a savings account. It doesn't seem real." "You earned this," Elise reminded him. "All I did was point out an opportunity." Marcus turned to look at her. "You did more than that. You saw me, really saw me, when most people in your position wouldn't have given me a second glance."